Nice to see you in this session. We will be talking about human resource development and eco-friendly lifestyle. And this is related to block 4 of the course MST 011, Sustainability Science, and the block is Ecology, Economics, and Ethics. So, learners, what is the meaning of human resource development? If we say that we have to go for human resource development, what does it mean? First of all, let us understand the difference between human resource and, in other words, we say that what is labor. So we are resources, we are human beings, we treat human beings as resources. What is the difference between a conventional labor and human resource is that we are creative entities, we have brains, we are adaptable to changes occurring outside, we strive to make our lives better, and in other words we can say that we have cognitive, we have affective psychomotor skills and domains, and by virtue of which we are apart from the other organisms which are there on this planet. So that is why we call ourselves as the human resources. We are resources. We can be put into something which is productive, something which is in the long term beneficial to the society, to the community, and to ourselves also. So this is what precisely is the meaning of human resource development. Must have heard in your organizations wherever you are working also, you must be having HRM cells, HRD department. What does it mean? In the context of sustainability, if we say, so human resource development is enabling a kind of an environment, creating such conditions where full potential of our capabilities, skills, potential, if it can be made into some use. So that is the meaning of human resource development. Creating a positive environment, giving the people the resources that they want, providing them with good education, giving them good living conditions, so that not only their needs are fulfilled, but also they are able to live a productive life. In our previous sessions, we had discussed about the needs and the wants, and how will we able to meet those needs. That is possible only with the human resource development. So there are different means and mechanisms right from the beginning of education. We have different measures by virtue of which we aim for the development of human resources in any country. Because altogether, if you compare yourselves with the generations which have gone by, you will find that you are in a much better position as compared to if we think about the choices, the opportunities which we are having today. So human resource development is also about expanding the choices, having more avenues for employment, having more opportunities for education, and apart from it, also making full use of our living. So, living fully is also one of the important aspect of human resource development. And we must take one thing into mind very clearly, learners, that the meaning of human resource development is not simply improving the per capita income or improvement in the standard of living of the people, but it is much more. So it has less to do with the rise and fall of the incomes of the respective nations, because holistically, if we look into what comprises of human resource development, you will find that it is much more than the financial aspect, because there are countries also where the incomes, or you can say the societies are there where the income levels are quite high, but we cannot say that the human resource is fully developed over there, because human resource development is much more than the monetary aspect, then the per capita income aspect of the communities. So there are, that is why we are saying that what else is important. If you look into the different dimensions and issues related to human resource development, you will find that these are some of the important issues around which the human resource and their development revolves. For example, number one is social progress. What do we mean by social progress? That we are living in a society where we have social stability, security, which has good, you can say, living conditions. If you talk about the individuals also, that means having proper nutrition, facilities for education, medical care, elderly care, support from the society. So this also is something which plays a very important role. In the absence of the social progress and in the absence of a well knit social system, we cannot think of achieving the development of the human resources in our context, in our dimension. So the development word is very confusing, because when we say development, we always assume it in the sense of improvement in our living, improvement in our status, improvement in our financial conditions. But altogether, as we have also seen in the case of sustainable development and elsewhere also, the the word development is often misleading, and it often talks about the economics. However, economic development is also one of the important issues of human resource, and important interventions in the policy, in the programs, in the different, you can say, our planners. This also makes an important distinction that, of course, the livelihoods of the people, by which means are they generating their incomes, and how economically we are developed from the past and in the future, where do we stand. This also constitutes one of the important aspect of the development of the human beings. Similarly, efficiency means that how well we are able to use the resources. Resources are always talked about in the form of the natural resources. We always say that the resources are scarce, they are limited, and we need to use them judiciously so that they are available for the coming generations and the coming human resources, we can say. So how do we use our water resources? How do we use our forest resources? The efficiency of the resources, not only the natural ones, but also the existing infrastructure resources, the existing, whatever the built environment we have created, the efficient use of these resources also amounts to the development of the human beings, or you can say the holistic development of the people in any given area. Similarly, equity, what we are seeing at present is that a section of the population are deprived. So we cannot live in a population, we cannot live in a country where half of the people are deprived of the basic needs, which we have seen in our previous sessions. So equity constitutes one of the important aspect of human resource, whereas the you can say what we have gained out of development, whether it is economic development, what we have gained, that has to be, that should be equally distributed among the different sections of the society. Similarly, the participation of the people in the decision making, in democratic governance, having civil and political rights, freedom to participate in the various, you can say, activities, this improves the resources in a community. It gives them an edge above other fellow human beings. That is equally important. And sustainability of the work that goes on, sustainability of the endeavors that we are doing, sustainability of the resources, sustainability of the current conditions in which we are working, and the security. This is something which is very much related to, you can say, social aspect, where we find that there is no job insecurity, there is
there is no crime, we are feeling secured, that will add to our progress. So these are, some of the important, if we aim for human resource development, is a sociological concept. So we have to look into all these aspects. Simply guaranteeing them financial independence, simply seeing that how well they can progress, will not be sustainable means of ensuring human resource development, because after all, at some point of time, they may be losing some of the vital issues which have been presented here. So these are some of the important issues which we must consider when we think of human beings as an entity, and we aim for the development of the whole community of human resource. At this point, the perception and the whole, you can say, whole set of conditions in which an individual or the community resides is influenced by all these issues which have been mentioned over here. So unless and until we work on these diverse issues, we will not be in a position to guarantee the human resource development. And therefore, you must have heard about Human Development Index. 1990 was the first time where Pakistani economist Mehboob Haq, he first of all devised this index. And what is this index all about? It is an attempt, you can say. Every year it is published, and it is an attempt to rate the countries, to list the countries on the basis of their performance in resources. So this Human Development Report, it actually serves to measure the well-being of human beings. You know what is well-being and your wellness of individuals. It considers life expectancy, the knowledge in terms of the literacy level, the standard of living of the people. On the basis of this, this index is prepared and it's published. Now, the very sad state of affairs of our country, if we say, in 2013 we were at 113 position, and after that there is a constant dip in our position with respect to human development. As per 2020 report of human development, we are standing at the number 133 out of 189 countries which are listed. Now, this is something really worrisome for the country, which we say that it is one of the emerging economies of the world, where we see that we have seen progress in almost all the spheres. But however, we must think that how fair we are doing with respect to our neighboring countries, how we are doing with respect to the other countries which are much smaller in size than us, which have very few resources, but in spite of that, if you compare the development and in terms of human development particularly, they are far better than us. So let us first of all look into what all is considered and what is lacking in it. For example, we make a critical assumption that HDI takes into consideration long and healthy life, but it fails to address the different issues related to the quality of life of the people. What kind of nutrition, what kind of mental health, what kind of other issues they are facing. So it generally takes into account the life expectancy of the population in a given country. We are at the age of 69 years, the life expectancy of our country is this, and it has continuously improved over decades. But however, one of the major, you can say, loophole in HDI with respect to human development is that we have been discussing only on the standard of living. That means we are developed, have a decent standard of living, which is measured by the GDP. that is the gross domestic product, how well our people are doing
Internet connection.
it has, I mean, it has a restructuring, you can say. And the restructuring is according to this report, there is a need to renew human development for the Anthropocene. Please to renew human development. That what is human development? The term has to be renewed. The term has to be seen from different angle for the Anthropocene, because Anthropocene age has begun, where the biggest threat to us is we only, our own activities only. So therefore there is a need to confront the new reality. We have to think between the people and the trees. We have to see how well we are doing. It is also essential to see what kind of planetary pressures we are putting in. The distinction between nature and human activities should should end at all. So another important, when we say human development, the time has come to empower people for innovations, for stewardship towards nature, for making all efforts towards conservation of nature. So human development is not possible without improving the state of conditions of the nature. We cannot develop of the human beings. So therefore, this report, which has come in 2020, strongly advocates that there is a need to restructure human development. Another important aspect which has been highlighted in this is this mechanism, how to renew, what has to change. So the minds have to change. We must understand, we must accept that nature based solutions should be looked for the current problems of the environment which we are facing today. The importance of sustainability, the importance of sustainable development is at the forefront now. And all this we have, understood more clearly with the ongoing pandemic and the consequences which we have faced, because the predictions have been made long before about the zoonotic diseases that might occur in the future. The evil effects of climate change are very much visible. So we need to do the things differently. We need to design our cities differently. We need to do agriculture differently. The way we consume has to be in a different manner. So the time has also come to explore new matrices. See, development is a dynamic concept. It is not static. Development and the meaning of development changes with time. So the index also only simply measuring human development with the literacy level, with the standard of living, and with the health will not serve the purpose. There is a need to improvise the better index. So there is the strong focus is on readjusting the human development index, which was prepared long way back before publication of human development report. And after 30 years, definitely we have to see that we are bringing in some new matrices which can, precisely define what is human development, and which can precisely explain to us that how we can achieve the human resource development. So the planetary pressures adjusted human development index needs to be worked out, needs to take into consideration, and therefore basically it advocates inclusion of two main dimensions. Number one is the reduction in the carbon dioxide emissions, the rating of the countries on the basis of that. and another one is material flow. You can see what is the material footprint of the different nations. The comparison of these kinds, that will foster environment conservation, and that will also bring in sustainability issues more so while designing the development pathways of different activities. And apart from it, so this is about the development aspect, but we know that happiness and gross national happiness is also the talk of the town. This index is mostly used to describe that how happy we are, and you must know that happiness is a function of non-material factors, it is generally believed. So our happiness doesn't come only by the possessions we have. So the coming generation, if you see, they are more happy with the experiences and have less to do with the consumption or accumulation of wealth, you can say. So after all the discussions on development and talking about human resources improvement with the help of social, economic and environmental aspect also, we also have to see how happy we are. And the happiness is a relative term. The different indicators of happiness have been proposed, and the indicators are, for example, these are some of which you can see on the screen. These are some of the domains which we can generally look for when we want to explore the happiness of the people in a country. So psychological well-being is how emotionally balanced we are, how what is the state of our mental health, how do we react in adverse circumstances, how satisfied or depressed we are. So this is the psychology of the people. How do we behave with our other fellow human beings? Then health, of course, we cannot be happy unless and until we are healthy. So health is determined by physical health, mental health, and so on. How the community functions, how are we dependent on each other, what kind of social support do we have, in case of any help, are we calling so are we relying on our social systems or not, how community is functioning, what kind of trust and mutual cooperation exists in the society where we are living. That will make us happy or unhappy. Similarly, standard of living of the people, governance, civil rights, political rights, democratic governance, that will determine the happiness, because many a times we may not be happy with the working of the government, with the working of the administration. Similarly, environment, what kind of environment in the present times we have seen that if noise pollution is there, we are irritated. Similarly, other types of environmental diversity or environmental, you can say, peace, that is also important for our happiness. There are several studies which have been conducted. They strongly reveal this fact that if we live close to nature, if we are, more in contact with the nature settings, with the environment activities we are indulged in, like gardening and taking care of the plants and other activities, it makes us happy, it makes us satisfied. Similarly, culture, how culturally sound we are, how close we are still to our roots, what languages, cultures, festivals, praying, these all aspects, how well we are educated, and how non-working hours, how we are spending, what is the breakup of the time which we spend out of our non-working hours, the leisure activities, the traveling done, the hobbies persuasion, interacting with friends and relatives. So so then all together, having all these things will make a person happy. So if you look into this, the world happiness rankings have been prepared, and according to 8th World Happiness Report, we need a combination of social, urban and natural environment to make us happy. In a good environment without social support, we cannot be happy. Similarly, in the urban context, or you can say economic aspect, that is also very much essential to make us happy. So this is an important report, and it makes an attempt to explore the level of happiness of 149 countries across the world. And on the basis of this thing, the countries are listed, which country is happiest, the people where are happy, and the people in which countries are not happy. So consequently, for several years, Finland has been ranked as the happiest country. Now we need to look into it, that why people in Finland are happy. And similarly, this report, which has come in 2021, it has also revealed some of the path-breaking researches because of COVID pandemic entering into our lives. So because of that, what is happening? We have seen unprecedented times. We have seen adverse circumstances, and because of which our state of happiness also is affected. So Finland has, has invested a lot in education, and because of which it is believed that it is the happiest country in the world because of spread of education and awareness. Similarly, the countries like Iceland, Denmark, Switzerland, Netherlands, Germany, Norway, in this order, they are the countries where the people are happy. And they may be happy because of the resources that they are having, because of the social setup that they're having, because they are able to spend their time pursuing their hobbies, and they are satisfied. But you see, Pakistan is on 105th, Bangladesh 101. These are our neighboring countries. China 84th, still better. United Nations is at 19th. Why not at first place? Because it has the richest country in the world. But then why people are not happy? And incidences of suicides, incidences of crime are all the more in the countries where the people are not happy. So we need to look into, and we need to explore that what is lacking. Now you must be curious to know about India. India is at number 139 out of 144 countries, sorry, 149 countries it is including. So look at our neighbors, and we are the most depressed nations of the world. Every year when the mental health day is celebrated, we come to this conclusion. The studies reveal that all age groups in our country, all age groups, beginning from children, from the teenagers to youth, adults, elderly, every section of the society, if you see the different age groups, they are tensed, they are anxious, depressed, worried, all these negative emotions. That is why the next line mentions that happiness index considers positive and the negative effects also. The positive effects are our laughter, joy, enjoyment, freaking out, talking, dining out. These are some positive effects. What are negative effects? Our anger, our anxiousness, anxiety, insomnia, and also violence, which we are seeing, road rages. How much will you count? So these are the negative, you can say negative emotions. So when you compare the countries on the basis of the positive and the negative effects, we see that where do we stand. Just look at this table and you find that our happiness is constantly, the score of happiness is declining, because happiness is a function of course, GDP, social support, life expectancy, freedom to make choices, generosity. Look at all these things and we find that our happiness score is constantly declining. There is an effect of positive attributes, there is an effect of negative attributes also. Um, how do we put? These are some of the standards which have been given according to the happiness indexes, and this is like perception of corruption. How do we see? So this is also on the declining phase. So that is why, because of all these factors, the countries are rated, the countries are marked, and we can see that how people are faring. So at the one aspect, we have all the concerns about development of human resources, and at the other concerns, we are seeing a kind of a distinct relationships where The people may be developed in the so-called development terminology, but they are not happy. So ultimately, when we explore the dimensions of sustainability and we think human beings as a resource, we also have to consider that what makes them happy. That is also important. So in all this, the role of governance is very, very important, whether it is in the form of reforms, rules, legislations, what kind of measures can be taken, transparency in their systems, effective decision making, development of capacities of institutions, monitoring, evaluation. All these are some of the important, you can say, aspects, dimensions which needs to be considered. Another important thing which relates to all is that how do we consume and how happy we are or not is something which has to do with our lifestyles and how well we are living. If we just you think about it, what is lifestyle? So lifestyle is how do we spend our time, how do we work, how do we live, how what kind of purchase decisions we make, how do we travel, how do we celebrate festivals, in what societies we are living. That is all thing. According to Cockerham, however, he said that lifestyle is a matter of chance and choice. Why do we say that? That it is, of course, a matter of chance. Means the type of society we are living, the type of job we are having. So every lifestyle is governed by certain factors which are inborn, which about which we cannot do anything. So if the lifestyle demands commuting long hours, we cannot help much. But it is also a matter of choice, because always we can make a choice between uh, what resources to consume, how to travel, what to buy, where to live, what to eat. So these are some of the choices which can make. However, in a nutshell, if we can say, we can simply put it as that lifestyle is a characteristic bundle of behavior. Of course, writing, speaking, moving, traveling, it's our behavior which influences self, which which becomes our habit, you can say. It becomes our character in the long run. And also it influences the others. It has an influence on the peers, it has an influence on the society, it has an influence on the environment and as a country also. What is advocated today is simplicity lifestyle. Mahatma Gandhi has said simple living, high thinking. Since those days, we are hearing this. We know this quote very well. So living more with less means basically what we want with living more with spending less, means less environmental damage, consumption of less resources, saying no to most of the things that we can afford, that we can have, but saying no because we want to live a simple lifestyle. So less burden on the environment, consumption of less resources, less burning of the fossil fuels, less wastage, and less purchasing, definitely owning less. If the owning is less, definitely the waste is less. So this is the order of the consumption of the materials, and it is also believed that it improves the quality of the life. So they are the simplifiers, the different set of the people who believe that the lifestyle which is simple is actually a quality life. So what determines our lifestyle? Basically, if you look into our surroundings and our social systems, how do we distinguish and how can we comment about the lifestyle? Basic determinants of lifestyles is food. What do we eat and from where do we procure what to eat? Our food choices. Compare the food choices of the deprived, of the poor, and compare the food choices of the people who live in the West who eat. So what their foods are mostly resource intensive. The food wastage is more. It is more, protein based, which is, you can say, has a more carbon footprint, also ecological footprint also. Similarly, housing, the type of house we live in. A big house may not be a you can say damaging or consumes more of resources if if it has a water saving devices, if it has a solar panels for the energy purposes. But in the long run, the type of houses we live in, the spacious houses, the type of construction, the place of living, that determines our lifestyle. We can comment on the basis of the where the people are living. We can say clearly about the lifestyles they are following. Similarly, mobility. How do we move from one place to another? Do we carpool? Do we use public transport? Most of the times, if you are flying from one place to another and not taking some other mode of transport, speaks volumes about your lifestyle. Similarly, consumption of the different goods and the different articles. The type of gadgets we have in our homes, the type of clothes and the brands that we consume, the different consumer goods, whether it is eatables, whether it is apparels, whether it is electronic items, it tells us because um, it explains because according to different strata, the different consumer goods are available in the market. And leisure activities. What do we do in our leisure times? You think about, and you will find a lot of examples among your own society, among your own people, that how lifestyle of the people is different. Just compare the leisure, how people spend their leisure time. Why sustainable lifestyle is advocated? Like sustainability everywhere, we need to think, and young people are thinking. Young generation is far more conscious about their uh, eco-friendly decisions. So it, as I said, sustainable lifestyle reduces the use of individual and society dependence on the natural resources, and also the personal resources what we are owning, because we just talked about the material consumption. And it also means that living a life which is eco-friendly. Living a life means all together, right from their commuting, their different services, they that it is not damaging to the environment, any of their actions. So sustainable lifestyle or eco-friendly lifestyle was first of all proposed in 1929. And since then, we have been trying to explain and we have been trying to advocate, because there are different determinants of sustainable lifestyle also. Nowadays, we give the information about the um media is very active, because we pass on the information regarding, you see a lot of ads where we see that eco-friendly paper is good, or you can say paper bags are good as compared to plastic. So from where does information is flowing? So our decisions are being made outside our surroundings. What decisions are being made outside? What is the community mindset with regard to sustainable lifestyle? That is very, very important, because we generally tend to follow what others have been doing. And another important thing is that sustainable lifestyle is often considered as a punishment. It is not something which is encouraged by the peers. So unless and until we are able to bring that change in the behavior of the individuals, we cannot think of promoting the lifestyles which are sustainable. So whether it is utilization of the product, reusing or saving for future, using home-based solutions for various you can say for various ailments, if you're seeing. So if you're not buying, if you're not consuming something which is very expensive, it it is sometimes, that is the effect of the culture, I can say. So how well the society promotes a sustainable lifestyle will determine its future. So the different drivers, what drives, because we have seen that what factors you can see, but income level is number one driver, which can which can make or break sustainable lifestyle. Then values of the people, as I said, how people are doing outside. Knowledge and awareness is very critical, because while making the decisions about carpooling or having green cover or wasting less has more to do with the knowledge and awareness of the people, which is generally lacking. And market is an important driver, I can say, because unless and until we promote it, unless and until we have proper market of the recycled products, just an example to show, we are not going to offer it. The norms of the society, the interaction with the peers and media, advocates of sustainable lifestyle can be the media, the the news, the articles, the information, the interviews, the different types of media interventions can help in a great deal towards promoting sustainable lifestyle. So if you look into the future at present times, just see how we are working and how we are consuming in the 21st century. The today's consumption is a means and it is not an end. The people working, the work culture today is entirely different, which was there earlier. So looking into this, it is quite obvious, because sustainable economy and sustainable environment is possible only with the help of sustainable lifestyle. So unless and until that is there, we cannot think of um, having a kind of an outlook which consumes less while living and this thing. So in the 21st century, people want to, as I said, people want to spend more on experiences. Less accumulation of wealth has become, which was not there in the earlier times. Now people don't want to think about the future and save and accumulate all the wealth. And therefore there is an emergence of sharing economy. We are sharing our cabs, we are sharing our rooms, we are sharing our clothes. People don't want to own less, people want to own less. So the sharing economy is very well seen. However, in the COVID times it has taken a backseat. But again, now we know that we don't want to spend more on the materialistic pleasures, materialistic commodities. And therefore we understand that consumption is a means and not an end, and behavior is linked to shared values. How the society, as I said, that it should not be seen as a punishment, it should be something transformational. It is linked to the shared values. How well others take it will will make a move towards sustainable lifestyle in the times to come. So while concluding, we can say that human development is what? Human resource or human development is making full use of an individual, not considering population or human beings are generally considered as a problem. But however, it should not be like that. It should be giving them all the opportunities, choices, so as to utilize their potential to the maximum. And therefore human development index needs to be revisited. The earlier notion of HDI with having only literacy component, health component and decent work life needs to be sufficed with more such dimensions, parameters, so that we are also able to address the issues of sustainability. And therefore with this the living of an individuals, then according to UNEP, it says that sustainable lifestyle is how we rethink our lives, how we rethink what we are buying, from where we are buying, how we are spending, how we are moving. So need to think so that there is less, you can say, pressure on the planet, on the resources of the environment. And nowadays, the good news is that the young generation are considering the eco-friendliness, looking for organic substitutes, looking for products which are eco-friendly. In all their conscious decisions, they are considering the impact on the environment. So with this, I thank you once again. If you have any questions, now we can start discussion.